beautiful Wednesday morning in the city of Abeokuta, and we're here again with the paper review today, which I usually come with the Punch newspaper with interesting headlines and writers concerning the fuel pump price and some other negotiations shown by NLC, TUC, and also coming from the political scenes and the queues that resurfaced in Lagos and some parts of Nigeria, Abuja precisely, as regards the hike that got increased about it. My name is Morire Rabi Lalawal, and my very point of first call shall be coming that how did you experience your coming from home till you get to office today, Ige?
Well, Morire, it was so terrific this morning because it has been difficult for every commuters. At the same time, the motorists were also complaining about the hike in price of fuel. It's my pleasure this morning welcoming you all to the view of BGI TV Current. My name is Ige or Lalikon. Over to you, Morire.
Yes, I have some interesting headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning. Some with names and terms that it's beyond people's orientation and imagination since the coming of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the first one on the top left, Tinubu backtracks, reviews proposed 8,000 cash palliative for Nigerians. And also the next one, sustained air attacks on terrorists, commander tells troops. And from the political part, where it's coming from the right part of the Punch newspaper this morning, North Central, Southwest ex-governors may replace Adamu or Mishore. But the major one, which I want us to have a discussion on, NLC, TUC, lambast Tinubu as fuel hits 630 naira per litre and shun negotiation. My take is that the Labour Party, NLC, TUC, are they actually yearning and fighting the federal government, or they are only yearning for what they are requesting from the federal government themselves?
Well, coming to look at it from the previous incident that taking place as soon as this government assumed office, you come to realize that one of the things that the NLC have been clamoring for is the issue of the hike in price. There was a time that the NNPC decided to increase the price of fuel, of which along the line, based on the reality of what is on ground, Nigerians are passing through hardship. Even, if you go to the street now, you come to realize that both the motorists, the commuters, and everyone were groaning seriously, despite the fact that we are also experiencing the insecurity challenge in the country. So I think what the NLC are clamoring for, they are still on the right track.
All right, the very huge one on the Punch newspaper this morning is as regards the NLC TUC lambast Tinubu as fuel hits 630 naira per litre, and we have resurfaces of queues along Lagos and Abuja, and even my trip to some part of Yewa in Ogun State yesterday brought about what I understand to realize the sufferings of masses and the sufferings of commuters. And in some part of Yewa, I realized the fact that if you cannot drive motorcycle, you should be able to sell rice. And I cannot imagine the fact that there's a border town between Nigeria and Benin Republic where I experienced yesterday in the course of my job. I realized the fact that the custom officers that were supposed to be at the border town, like their own command, they were so busy having road maps on the road, collecting 500 naira from motorists. Either you carry a rice or you carry bags of rice. And convincingly, it is a shame to Nigerian government that yes, they claim that Nigerian youths are lazy. I could see myself yesterday where ordinary motorcycles loaded with 10 bags of rice, some 5 bags of rice, some jerrycans of oil and palm oil coming from Benin Republic into Nigeria. The roads are not tarred. And I cannot believe the fact that there are legislators from Yewa claiming to be bona fide sons and daughters of Ogun State from Yewa axis. There is nothing to compare Yewa to be an existing part of Ogun State. The way Abeokuta is being decorated and sophisticated. And they are there representing themselves in the legislature's arms of government, and they are not doing anything to the part of Yewa. Yewa looks to me like a remote area. And this is a route where we have all of our importations of rice, vehicles, to mention a few that I saw myself yesterday. And still, there are so many budgets, there are so many revenues on this axis. No motorable road. No motorable road. Ordinary bike man that took us from Ijong town to the place we went to for what happened that an immigration officer killed a resident in the community. Bike man took us 5,000 naira. For my kind of person, I was able to convince the bike man that I cannot pay 7,000 naira. It is a live experience. It was a live experience yesterday.
Moriri, I think to really come in from that angle, I can see the way you feel, and I also feel your plight. But the truth of the matter is, I think I will not be surprised on what you just said. Because if you look at it, you see that as far as that area is a border town to Nigeria, the question is, and Benin, the question is, you know, we feel that the people that are really representing us are the ends of our fear. What exactly is their responsibility? That's number one. Number two, when you look at it, you come to realize that even within each state of the federation, there is a kind of marginalization. There was a time a lot of, zone were complaining that, okay, they've not really felt the intervention of the federal government in this area, in that area. But at the same time, okay, if you want to look at it, let's come down to Ogun State as a state itself. You discover that the way they rotate the governors in Ogun State, there has been some area that they've not really felt the impact of the government.
On that part, let me correct your notion. I used to believe that there is something we call rotation of governors in the states.
Okay.
Now, if you truly want to give me an attire to put on,
okay,
I will look at what you are putting on first. If it fits me collecting that attire from you, I can say it over and over again that Yewa cannot produce an Ogun State governor.
Okay.
Number one, what have they done for themselves? Majority of these people that are at Abuja, lawmakers, senators, what have you, what have they done to the part of Yewa? I saw everything yesterday. I was so ashamed that this community wants to produce Ogun State governor. It's not possible. When it comes to infrastructural developments on ground, there is nothing. The only golden town in Yewa as a whole, I want to tell you categorically, apart from the Dangote cement along that way, the highest place again to be ranked number one best is Ilaro town because of the Federal Polytechnic and other institutions if abound in that community. Now tell me, which amongst their son can you vouch for to become the next Ogun State governor? Yayi, Senator Yayi, he has been there for almost 16 years or more than 16 years. What has he done to that part of the community in Yewa? To mention Tata, Ijomu, Ibogila, the Yewa from Itoshi axis yesterday. There was nothing. And you expect the whole of Ogun State to back you and support your ticket to come and become a governor. At least if you want to become a governor, number one citizen, CSO of a state, what have you done? We spent almost 1.5 hours on water with machine, motorbike. It was the grace of God that yes, we did not go with other equipment for the coverage of the event that we went for. At a point, we drove through that water, on the water. We got to Benin Republic. Police officers that cannot speak English, and I do not understand French. It was just intelligence and wisdom that I used yesterday. He requested for my ID card. I showed him. On the police station building that I saw there, it was written in French. The officer are assigned duties to check people coming in and going out, cannot even construct ordinary pidgin English. And I do not understand French. I need to use my common sense, science and language, and in science and terms of communication. That's okay, I'm a journalist. The moment he heard I'm a journalist, you journalist? I say yes. What have you? I was like, okay, let me just use the way and manners that he was talking. I was able to convince him that yes, I'm here for an assignment from Abeokuta, Ogun State. He said, you come from Nigeria? I said, yes. Before we could get access, left Benin, followed through the bush paths, which on the Google it was written that only strong men can access the place we were going to. There was no vehicle. There was nothing like a wooden bridge. All was water. I would fly a bag. Getting to the community, it was another experience. There was nothing like electricity. There was nothing like schools, hospitals, or maternity. And you expect the whole of Ogun. It is a shame unto the likes of Senator Yayi and every other people that are representing Yewa as a whole.
Now, Mori, let me come in that area. One of the things I want you to understand is this. You know, if you look at Nigeria, it's a theater of drama. That's number one. Number two is
reckless dramas.
And number two is the fact that you come to realize that federal government have not been serious in terms of redistribution of infrastructural facilities. I will explain that now. Look at the South, for instance. That is the golden egg that produces the jewelries for Nigeria. That is where we get the crude oil. Now, how many federal government presence have they felt in that area? Now, if you look at it, the Yewa indigene alone cannot do this alone. The border town is somewhere that Nigerian government has the power to regulate all the activities that goes on there. So it is the necessity of the federal government to make sure that they take care of that area. For instance, just like you made mention of Ilaro, how many federal government parastatals are there in Yewa land? Except the federal, the federal polytechnic that is there. And if not for the presence of that federal polytechnic, how do you think that area will look like? Now, government has not been able to create job employment opportunity for those people in that area. And that is why their children resort to riding of Okada and some other things.
Let me give you another point which I do not want us to base our discussion on assumptions.
Okay.
If you keep arguing about what has the federal government done to the whole of Yewa town, Yewa has been in existence for as long as Ogun State has been in existence. And they keep having legislatures, lawmakers, senators. What have they been doing? I do not deserve any answer from you because you are not from Yewa and other parts in Ogun State. Now, let me ask you this sincere question again. NNPC remains the principal when it comes to fuel, crude oil, as Nigeria is concerned. Ever since Buhari was there until he left, for 8 good years, how many of the refineries were functioning?
None.
None. And they kept on paying salaries to ghost workers that are not working in a place where it is not functional. Dangote built a refinery under 2 years. If Dangote spent 250,000 naira to building a refinery under 2 years, Buhari needs to be investigated. Mele Kyari needs to be questioned. Malami Abubakar needs to be questioned. All of these allocations and budgets for NNPCL, for all of those refineries for the 8 years Buhari spent as the worst ever president of Nigeria in history. What took Dangote under 2 years to build a refinery, which was supposed to be in Ogun State before? There was brouhaha, lack of understanding and agreements.
Exactly.
Because Nigerian leaders and politicians are thieves. They keep fighting for what will be beneficial to them alone. when millions of people just need trillions to survive. Imagine if Buhari had thought it well with fear of God. Under 4 years, you ought to have fixed all of these refineries.
And that is exactly
if we have working refineries in Nigeria, small-scale business will start moving, growing. All of those companies running away from Nigeria to other neighboring African countries, they will never have left Nigeria as what Nigeria used to be. Secondly, now, the fuel that we were buying 500 naira plus, that was not convenient. Under an hour, it skyrocketed. Ilaro, they were buying it, that the bike man that took us bought a liter for 720 naira. And ordinary bag of rice, I learned it was 25,000 naira or 27,000 naira. But what about the risk these boys go through every day? Now, if these refineries were working, apart from refineries that were not working, and some people foolishly receiving salaries from what they are not working for, and some people could be telling president that yes, they are tired of eating this money from subsidy. Tinubu got there. One thing killing Nigeria as a whole is this: when someone is at the end of affair as a president or as a governor and refuses to give us garri to eat, we will have this resistance to survive the whole trouble and struggle. The moment he or she leaves office and we have a new person, we expect that person to act miraculously.
Perform magic.
It is not done. I still insist that if Buhari can be invited for questioning, give us breakdown. Under 4 years alone, the first 4 years, what he did to refineries and the money. What were those money meant for? It's just like you saying you are decorating a falling building. Number one, it is already a falling building. It's not erected. As it is not erected, who can live under a falling building? Only robbers. And you are financing a falling building. People are getting promoted when the refineries are not working. Mene Kyari kept on being there with the services of this kangaroo suspended CBN governor. The rubber stamp where that lawmaker, Kazauri from Jigawa State, was yearning for. They swept everything under the carpet. Now we are buying fuel at 680 naira, 720 naira. This thing is not affecting these lawmakers.
You are right, but at the same time,
hold on, Ige. It's not affecting them. Because the government is financing everything that they are using. Tofidori newspaper, Tiwonra, we keep talking, we keep crying, we keep begging for the needful to be done. The likes of Pa Awolowo and Akintola, that they are claiming that yes, they are looking as their own mentor since those people left this world. How many of these so-called governors, these so-called lawmakers, these so-called senators, these so-called ministers, NDGs, at the directors, the permanent secretary, the SSA, everything. To some extent, some state governments now, they are rubbishing the grassroots politics, the likes of the councillors and the chairmen, when those ones too are thieves. What do you expect? We will continue yearning until the day we have our functional refineries before we can enjoy anything in Nigeria.
And to add to what you said, Moriri, you know, recently there was this report that the House of Rep are saying something. Let me just quickly read the headline. Reps to security agencies stop settling vessels with stolen crude oil on fire. Now, to add to what you said and to concur with your view, you discovered that what I feel the current president should do is to revamp the NNPC. That's the best thing. He needs to take out all those people that are at the ends of affairs. Even Kyari and bring in some set of people that he knows that understand the rudiments of the process in the Ministry of Petroleum. And again, just like this headline that says that the rep is about to investigate NMDC, NNPC. Why? They discovered that a lot of vessels that are bringing in petroleum into the country, they said they are setting some on fire. Why? They said those crude oil they are bringing in are stolen crude oil. Now, it means that even the NNPC itself, they are having a lot of shady deals. And just like you said, if the House of Rep and House of Senate have been paying through their nose to get fuel into their vehicle and things like this, and they are still experiencing the same thing that Nigerians are experiencing, they would have taken a drastic step in respect of this. But what do we say about that? All of them just kept quiet. But let's see this investigation that is about to take place and see what the outcome will look like. But another thing I want to really find out, and I want to, if we go through this Vanguard, we have this. They said anger as petroleum eats 568 liters in Lagos, 617 in Abuja and others. But the question now is, are we still going to continue this way, despite all the hardships that Nigerians are passing through? And at the same time, coupled with the insecurity state of the country, a lot of dilapidated roads and things like that. So when is this current administration going to act and put up a proactive measure to solve those problems? What is your take on that?
My take still remains the fact that the day the presidency, NNPCL, will come to their right senses that we have a problem. These are the resolutions we can use in bringing succor to the people we are representing as a nation. The better for us. Number two, if all of the funds meant for the refineries are not accounted for judiciously with proper investigations, Nigeria remains a country where if we have 2 people from 10 people that wants to be honest and sincere, 100% sincerity, the other 8 will begin to fight them and do everything possibly to stop them from telling Nigerians the truth. If the federal government of today can bring back Buhari and his ministers, especially as regards petroleum, as regards the CBN, the pains we went through, they should come and explain to us all of those funds that were budgeted, signed and approved. What were the money used for? If all of these questions begging for answers could get at least 10% answer from 100%, economy in this country will grow and smile again. That's number one. Then number two, I still insist, from my experience again yesterday, I got to Dangote's cement plants at Yewa Axis. You are producing cement that goes to almost part of the world in Africa. And you can't even be charged with the responsibility of having a good motorable road from your company's axis to every part of Yewa where you have your trucks. Then what are the revenues the Ogun State government is getting from Dangote's plant? What are they meant for? At some portion of those roads, I got to see some ditch where ordinarily, if not the grace of God, so many vehicles would have been ending their journey into those ditches. From Itoshin to Yewa that I went to yesterday, there is no third road, convenient third road. And we have Dangote cement in the axis. What stopped the government from doing the needful? If not for their unscrupulous manners of government. the Dapo Abiodun, who is the governor of Ogun State, since his days in the office as a governor, he should come out and speak on television to address Ogun residents that these are my landmark, these are my scorecard of what I've done. People from Shaje, Elega to town, ordinarily you can use 100 naira before from Elega, Shaje to town. Now, if you don't have 400 naira coming alone to town, then going back another 400 naira, that's almost 1,000 naira. The roads are not good. So many abandoned projects with this present administration has abandoned and is not even doing any new ones. I can't imagine that if not for the sake of Wole Soyinka in this estate that instructed the governor and his people that made this road, only the major parts were tarred, not streets, which I believe they would have accounted for huge billions of naira. That yes, they've tarred the road from Kenta Housing Estates to Shomorin along Obantoko. This thing is common sense. Between Oyo State and Ogun State, they have Akpata that links them together and other axis. Majority of the food we eat in Ogun State comes through this side. The gari, the lafun, the issue from the farm. Let's forget about insecurity now that the Fulanis are doing, which the people I went to meet yesterday complain about the Nigerian Fulanis that are still good Fulanis. The man happens to be the Otun of Olujong of Ijong Kingdom. He said he was born in that village and he met some Fulanis that whenever they are grazing with their cows, they beg for water and they fetch water for them. These Fulanis are the ones telling this Otun, who is over 70 years old, speaking to me live yesterday, that the relationship, which was cordially, turned sour suddenly. And the real Fulanis of Nigeria came to their kingdom and tell them that they are leaving the forest to their own paths. They are migrating. Because they have some foreign Fulanis that are ready to kill. Even they are killing the Fulanis of Nigeria. So what are the governments doing about that? It means definitely the Nigerian Fulanis are not the ones perpetrating this evil.
Exactly.
Raping of women, killing of farmers on the farm, kidnapping, collecting ransom that their own forefathers does not work for. And you are telling me, His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun, you are his living governor in Ogun State. Let us speak the truth to ourselves. If we can frown at ourselves to achieving a goal, definitely it will be a good thing for a governor to walk freely on the streets and people will clap for him. It is a shame, again. It is a shame that ordinarily you cannot boast of spending 1,000 naira conveniently in Ogun State, as remote as Ogun State is. Let me use that word. Where are the factories in Ogun State? The only one we have is just two plants, Lafarge and Dangote Cement. Others are individual companies such as pure water, fuel stations, to mention a few.
And in case you are just joining us on BGI TV Current, this is where you get the details of information on the news as it unfolds. For you to update yourself and to get more information on the current issues that goes on around the country, you can subscribe to our channel on BGI TV Current. Now, Morire, before we go further, there is this same thing I would like us to discuss about. In the same Vanguard newspaper, the Attorney of Yoruba Land, Chief Olabode George, said recently in the Vanguard newspaper that he believes that the 1999 Constitution, which was formed by the military government then, and at the same time, that if possibly we need to amend this Constitution, that is one of the major hindrances to development in the country. That if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can work with the National Assembly to see what they can do about reforming the Constitution, that he believes that there will be a further progress. And at the same time, he made mention of the fact that possibly they should also come up with review the national conference that was held during the time of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, that those two things are part of the major challenges and obstacles that are confronting Nigeria. What is your take on that?
With respect to the autonomy of Yoruba land, it's just trying to gain relevancy and importance in the polity. If truly they think of what they have done to Nigeria, they themselves, the likes of Olabode George, what has he achieved as that title, autonomy? I am responding to his claim concerning the 1999 Constitution. And to the former head of state, Olusegun Obasanjo, accumulating wealth of millions of Nigerians to themselves. PDP was ruling when Obasanjo was the president. PDP ruled when late Yar'Adua was the president. PDP ruled when Ebele Jonathan was the president to finish his principal's tenure. Olabode was in government. Olabode George was part of the instruments that pushed Nigeria into where Nigeria is today. Now he's now referring to review. Who made the constitutions? Are they not the ones? Is he not a retired military man? Now they've all gone to remove khaki and they are in mufti now, claiming that they are civilians. Who are they fooling? They have been recycling themselves. And they made all of this constitution, all of these laws that guide Nigeria, that is killing Nigeria till today. And now they are now coming out to act as a saint, as an angel. Is their anus not as dirty as everyone's anus? He was same speaker, mouthpiece, that was attacking the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu before the election. Now he feels he can chew up all of what he has uttered and accept millions of Nigerians to accord him that recognition again. That is what he is wanting. Fine, he made mention of a good thing, a review. But are the lawmakers ready to review a constitution that will better the life of average Nigerian?
And that's where the question is.
Are they ready to review all of these constitutions, these laws, to better the life of a mere tier? I saw some core members at Ijon village yesterday. I was now asking myself a rhetorical question. How are they surviving in a community where there is no electricity? In a community where the frequent thing you can access is for you to buy gin off the road, with younger ages selling these drinks. Tell me, what kind of life exposure experience are they going through at that tender age when they ought to be in class? A teacher under the Ministry of Education from a state or federal level, some are posted to all of these remote areas with the fuel hike. My brother, from Itoshin, if anybody doubts me, they should go and confirm. From Itoshin garage to Ijon, 2005 to the last bus stop. For a vehicle that used to be like maybe 700 naira, 800 naira before. And a teacher is assigned to be a teacher at Yewa who lives in Abeokuta. Tell me, with all honesty, will such teacher go to that school every day? Definitely there will be a template.
Exactly.
Between I and you. Go for 1 week, Iggy. Following week I will go. Tell me, are we not having a gap when it comes to 100% educational standard expected of our schools. Nigerian government is just let me say a place, a zoo, where anybody can be a director, can be a governor, can be a president, just to mark attendance there that yes, in the history of so state in Ogun State, I am challenging the present governor of Ogun State. Let him come and speak to us with his scorecard. The whole of Ogun State is not smiling, not to talk of the whole of Nigeria. Come to insecurity, nothing is working. The likes of former governor of the state, Ibikole Amosun, if there was any law that states that a continuity should be for some performing governors, Ibikole Amosun should have remained in office. This man will monitor all of the projects himself till late nights. I do not think averagely from the old governor's office to Yano Mortuary or to OGTV, my 6, that anyone living on this axis have ever seen the governor. That's number 1. Number 2, so the deputy governor's office, not in Salako, she claimed to be a certified engineer, right?
Exactly.
We are tired of paper certification. Let them come out and act. She's a mother, for crying out loud. If your governor fails on electrical things that concerns a state, that you are the deputy, what stops you from acting?
Exactly.
Why were you there? Why were you voted there? Are you a figurehead? Street lights in the whole of Ogun State got stopped. There was no continuity and maintenance culture, which is killing Nigeria as a whole. Ordinarily, workers are earning salary. Before the salary comes, they say take one lane to the alone. And you there at the government office. And when you're in the office, in time to your the office, and then by salary. And somewhere, you will not told that you're going to shake what I'm here around. Joe, when last have you fetched drinkable water? Bag of pure water that we used to buy 25 naira per bag. Now, my brother, it's 250 naira. 250 naira. Yewa's experience yesterday was an eyesore. We drove for 1 hour plus on the water. What if I have a strong phobia for water? I could not use my phones and gadgets to cover anything because I respect tradition and culture. Some part of the water was so plain, some people were washing clothes. Same water at some portion of the river, they drink. Tell me, I asked a question from the Otun of Ijon, or me of Igbokofin, under Ijon Kingdom. I said, where is the palace in this community? No palace. It is all farmlands for Ege, which is cassava and maize. The only school from that axis, they were being taught with Yoruba language. And we say we are representing people at Abuja. It is a wake-up call and a challenge call to Senator Yayi.
Exactly.
There was no poster order in the whole of Yewa except Yayi's poster. Are you feeding people with posters? Are they animals that eat posters? What are they representing? What are they legislating? What laws are they passing? For crying out loud, when people are in stark abject poverty, surviving, they will sweat before they get money. They will sweat when they want to spend money, which they work for. And some people in government are claiming Nigerian youth are lazy.
Morire, and as this is a wake-up call to the politician, at the same time, I believe we Nigerians should to learn a lesson from this, because the experience we are sharing is a pathetic one, of which we want to call on the federal government to intervene in what is going on in Yewa axis of Ogun State. despite the fact that there is a governor in the state of which people cannot even really feel the impact. Now, let's go on with another headline which I want us to talk about this morning. From the Vanguard, we have the subsidy remover. Tinubu order review of proposed 8,000 cash transfer. Morire, recently the president of the country had the perceive and perception that, okay, due to the level of the abject poverty in the country, for him to bring up a palliative measure of which will cushion the effect of the bad experience Nigerians are having, maybe it will be possible, and possibly they could give per household 8,000 naira. And we were looking at it that what are the yardstick that government wants to use to get exactly those people who are indigent in the society. Morire, now, the president is reviewing it and we are still waiting for the next step on that. But what is your own take on this 8,000 naira per household?
8,000 naira is not what we need. Secondly, how many times have we heard about federal government's grants to all 36 states and FCT in the country? How many of them went round as naturally designed? It is a laughing stock for the president to have thought of giving out 8,000 naira. Fine, some homes cannot afford 2,000 naira per day. Fine, when they get 8,000 naira, they will praise and thank God. But does it solve their problems? That's the question. Then number two, what are the mechanisms put in place to making sure the reality behind 8,000 naira is achievable? Method of dispensing this 8,000 naira. Nigeria is a complex country that thieves are the leaders. Last year, there was a lawmaker from Ondo State that talks about 3.2 million naira federal government grants, NG cares, that was meant for average Nigerians to believe that President Muhammadu Buhari meant well for them. It got to state level. The state government hijacked it, renamed these grants to individual states. It was naturally designed for over 10,000 residents of the state who could use this money for something meaningful, like the hairdressers, the mechanics, the cobblers, the hair barbers, the people making school uniforms, to mention a few, even traders. 3.2 million naira from the federal government's purse to bring succor to people, and each state individually hijacked it. It was confirmed that Oyo State gave out that grant to just 100 people. From 3.2 million naira, they reduced that money till 250,000 naira, which was shared to their own subjects, which they can easily drop their account and facilitate or enhance the 250,000 naira. The same lawmaker from Ondo State was asking the chairman of that committee in charge of that grant to come out and explain to Nigerians that it is not the senators or the lawmakers that are beating up these palliative measures. In Ondo State, they reduced from 10,000 head to 100 people. Are you saying the whole of the local government in Ondo State has just 100 people? I have been to Ondo State severally. The capital itself. Before you get to the capital city, there are some community town, border town between Ondo and Osun. Ordinarily, you get to see people there trading. Onions, pepper, to mention a few. The only thing that can change Nigerians' life is not 8,000 naira. President Bola Tinubu meant well for 8,000 naira, at least to cushion the removal of fuel subsidy. But will it go round sincerely? Will it meet the people that need this 8,000 naira? Ordinarily, my brother, gas, refilling of gas of 3 kg was supposed to remain at 950 naira or 850 naira before. Now 3 kg is 2,000 naira. Now compare 12.5 kg. Funny enough, all of these directors, all of these SSA to governors, to president, to these positions, they are not average Nigerians, into your know. The most funniest one again, the new members at the green chambers and the red chambers.
Exactly.
They want to give them 70 billion naira to buying sophisticated bulletproof jeep.
And maybe not to stress, really have experience stress when they are discharging their responsibility or something.
What about the billions of stress and hardship on average Nigerians? We have good lawmakers. Not all of them are good. Tomorrow will be another day again.
Morire, as we are rounding up, let us quickly take this last headline from the Vanguard newspaper. Now, today, the list of the ministers will be unveiled at the National Assembly. That's according to the clerk of the House. And, you know, in the midst of all those few prices hike and the rest of it, Morire, what is your expectation towards the list? And, you know, per se, maybe the set of people you hope to see their name in the list as it unveils today.
I will not speculate.
Okay.
And I cannot agitate for a particular name because they are all the same thing.
Bird of the same feather.
Exactly. Since the age of the very first time we had President Olusegun Obasanjo as the head of state, the likes of Shagari,
Exactly.
the likes of Gowon, the likes of Ibrahim Babangida, the likes of late Sonny Abacha, the likes of Shagari that was number 2 to President Olusegun Obasanjo.
That's Yaradua.
Yes. Their age bracket was 29 plus to 35.
Exactly.
And they're still there today. It is a shame, but we hope for the better. Whoever is assigned the position of a minister, they should believe that they are going there to serve people, not to accumulate wealth that belongs to their constituency, where they come from. May God help Nigerian politicians.
Amen. And as we hope for the better, I want to thank all our viewers once again, and I believe that you really enjoyed the robust discussion on today's paper review. My name remains Ige Olalekon as I enjoin you to join us tomorrow for another interesting edition. Morire, over to you.
It's a wonderful time again we've spent with you. And I want to say, definitely, it's going to be more interactive tomorrow. And we shall come with smiles and humor. Because let the poor breathe.